Antarctica is like the planet's locked attic. It's a place where things go to be forgotten, buried under millions of tons of ice.
Oh, look at that. Wow. That is one mother of a bloody coldest.
But archaeologists just found the key.
Some of the crevasses in the shear zone can be 5, 6, 7 meters wide and probably 30, 40 meters deep.
They've discovered a massive structure, and the experts who have seen the data are completely stunned. This isn't a small find. It's a colossal anomaly that seems to be intelligently designed, and it's been sitting there for millennia. What was it? Who built it? And what else is hiding in the coldest place on Earth? The answers are finally coming to the surface. Antarctica's secret entrance. We are talking about a discovery that could rewrite everything we thought we knew about the past. The story begins on King George Island, one of the southernmost islands off the Antarctic Peninsula. This place is already a hub for human activity, with research stations from countries all around the world. But even with all those scientists around, something massive was hiding in plain sight. Internet sleuths poring over satellite images on Google Maps were the first to spot it. A massive dark opening in the side of a snow-covered mountain. A cave. But this isn't just a cave, it's an abyss. Satellite measurements show the entrance is enormous. It's roughly 74 feet high and a staggering 250 feet wide. To put that in perspective, you could easily fly a passenger jet right into the opening. And that's putting it lightly. The sheer scale is baffling. Natural caves don't usually form with such a perfect gaping entrance. And get this, the size isn't even the weirdest part. What most people don't realize is what is at the base of this entrance. When researchers looked closer at the high-resolution images, they were left speechless. There, set into the snow and rock, are what look exactly like steps. Dark, rectangular shapes cut at perfect right angles leading up to the mouth of the cavern. It looks like someone, or something, intentionally carved a grand staircase to this hidden doorway. Some observers even claim to see faint markings in the snow near the entrance, markings that look unnervingly like footprints. Not just a random scattering, but a trail leading deep into the darkness. For a place like Antarctica, where humans rarely set foot off their designated paths, these details are beyond remarkable. They're almost impossible. So, here's the deal. This cave has a habit of playing peekaboo. It was first noticed in a satellite image from 2007. Then a few years later, it seemed to vanish. The images just showed a blank wall of snow and ice. But by 2022, it had made another brief return, prompting a storm of excitement and, of course, a lot of skepticism. Scientists have a logical explanation, sort of. They suggest this could just be the result of snow melting during the brief summer, or the ice shifting, or even strong winds covering and uncovering the entrance. But the pattern remains unusual. It seems to defy the normal cycles. Could it be a natural formation, just a weird trick of geology? Or is there something more deliberate at work? Those steps and those footprints raise questions that ordinary geology can't easily answer. This is where the wild theories start, and they are almost too crazy to believe. But the data is right there. Some people are calling this a hollow Earth entrance. Yeah, about that, the theory is that our planet isn't a solid ball of rock, but a hollow shell with a whole other world inside lit by an inner sun. And this cave? It's a gateway. A massive portal big enough for the advanced craft of an inner Earth civilization to fly in and out. It sounds like science fiction, but the sheer size of the opening has proponents of the theory absolutely convinced. Then there's the other theory, the one that whispers about a certain European power from the 1930s and 40s. A rogue German expedition, obsessed with ancient legends and mystical power, supposedly set up a secret base in Antarctica. They called the region New Swabia. Legend says they were building something there, a Base 211, a fortress in the ice. What if this cave isn't ancient at all? What if it's the entrance to that very base? An old, forgotten hangar for technology that the world was never meant to see. The steps could be a loading dock. The footprints could be from soldiers long gone. King George Island itself is no stranger to humans. As we mentioned, it hosts research stations from Chile, Poland, South Korea, and more. It's a busy place by Antarctic standards. Yet here's the crazy part. Despite this huge international presence, no official expedition has ever reported entering or even documenting this cave. Its location is just remote enough and the shifting snow just tricky enough that it may have kept itself hidden. That is, until modern satellite technology brought it into crystal clear view, allowing researchers and amateur explorers to examine it from thousands of miles away. The theories about this cave's origin have absolutely flourished online. Some suggest it could be a secret modern base, a black site run by a world government hidden from all treaties and laws. Others speculate it might conceal an ancient city, a structure from a long-lost civilization frozen in time for millennia. This is the Atlantis theory, the idea that the lost city wasn't in the Atlantic at all but was a continent-spanning civilization at the South Pole, which was flash-frozen in an ancient cataclysm. And this cave? It's the front door to one of its last remaining temples. A few have even proposed the idea of a crashed spacecraft, one that plowed into the mountain and was buried under the snow. What if this isn't a cave at all, but the broken hull of a ship that is miles long? While all of this sounds like pure speculation, it captures the imagination. And that's because this discovery is so strange, it feels like it should be something more. The cave has become a giant puzzle, a massive doorway carved into ice and rock leading to, well, that's the question, isn't it? Now, for all the intrigue, the most logical and scientific explanation remains that this is a natural formation. Antarctica's geological history is incredibly complex. We're talking about volcanic activity, shifting tectonic plates, and the crushing, grinding movement of glaciers, all shaping the landscape for millions of years. Nature is absolutely capable of creating formations that look deliberate, even architectural. There are basalt columns all over the world that look like man-made pillars. But the human-like steps at the base, combined with the cave's habit of appearing and disappearing, make it very difficult to just dismiss the idea. It's hard to shake the feeling that there could be something more, something unbelievable, waiting just beneath the surface. What lies beyond that dark entrance is still a complete mystery. The satellite images give us hints of depth and darkness, but they can't show us what the human eye could see up close. Some experts believe the cave may extend far beneath the mountain, possibly for miles. They think it could contain a network of chambers that have been perfectly preserved under the ice for centuries, like a natural time capsule. Others, however, are more cautious. They warn that ice caves can be incredibly unstable and deceptive. They can have shifting ceilings, hidden crevices 1,000 feet deep, and a tendency to collapse, making any exploration extremely dangerous. But the question remains, why does this one look different? Why the steps? Why the perfect massive archway? The mystery of this cave is just the beginning. The truth is, Antarctica is hiding a past that is far stranger than anyone ever realized. But this cave isn't just a random hole, it's a clue that points to a much bigger, more shocking secret. Secrets buried for millennia. When we think of Antarctica, we picture that endless white, a brutal, sterile environment. But here's the deal, it wasn't always like this. Antarctica is often called a frozen wasteland, but its past tells a very, very different story. And this is a fact, not a theory. Long before those massive ice sheets spread across the continent, this land was warm. It was covered with lush forests, winding rivers, and ecosystems that were absolutely thriving. What most people don't realize is that millions of years ago, Antarctica was part of a supercontinent called Gondwana. It was connected to South America, Africa, Australia, and India, and back then it was located much closer to the equator. The climate was more like modern-day New Zealand or even parts of South America. Fossil evidence, which scientists have been digging out of the ice for decades, proves it. They've found fossilized leaves, ancient wood, and even pollen. All of this suggests a temperate or even tropical environment. This wasn't a land of ice, it was a land of green. This frozen continent was once home to a huge variety of plants, giant insects, and massive animals, including dinosaurs. Can you wrap your head around that? Dinosaurs roaming lush forests at the South Pole. The sheer contrast between what once existed and the stark frozen landscape we see today is astounding. It's almost unbelievable. And it's this hidden history that makes any new discovery, any feature found beneath the ice, so incredibly intriguing. That ice is a time capsule, and the cave on King George Island could be a doorway right into that lost world. Geologists have spent their entire careers piecing together Antarctica's geological past. The continent has shifted dramatically over millions of years. As it broke away from Gondwana and drifted south, it began to cool. The real deep freeze, though, started around 34 million years ago when it finally separated from South America. This opened up the Drake Passage, allowing a freezing cold ocean current to circle the continent, isolating it and plunging it into an ice age it has never recovered from. Or, did it happen that way? This is where another wild theory comes in. What if the change wasn't slow? What if it wasn't a gentle drift over millions of years? What if it was a cataclysm? Some researchers have proposed the pole shift hypothesis. The idea is that the Earth's crust can suddenly and violently shift, moving entire continents thousands of miles in a matter of days. If that happened, Antarctica could have been moved from a temperate zone to the South Pole almost overnight. This flash freeze would have instantly preserved everything that was living there: the forests, the rivers, the animals, and any civilization that might have called it home. This is the core of the Antarctic Atlantis theory. It's not about an island sinking into the sea, it's about an entire continent being frozen in an instant. This would mean that under the ice, there aren't just fossils, but perfectly preserved cities, temples, and structures, all waiting to be found. So here's the big question. If Antarctica was warm and it had forests and rivers, could it also have had people? This is where things get controversial. Some discoveries suggest that Antarctica may have been visited by humans long before modern exploration. Now, to be clear, there is no definitive evidence of any large ancient civilization on the continent. Mainstream science says modern humans never saw a green Antarctica. But there are things that are hard to explain. Around the continent, researchers have found stone formations and unusual patterns in the ice and rock that have fueled intense speculation. Certain locations show geometric formations, straight lines and right angles that some experts believe could indicate deliberate construction or modification. Are they just weird, natural rock formations? Probably, but the idea that humans, or perhaps another intelligent species, might have interacted with this land during its last warmer periods, that idea can't be entirely dismissed. And then there are the maps. This is where it gets really strange. There's a famous map called the Peary Race Map, drawn in 1513. It shows parts of the world with shocking accuracy. But the strangest part is its depiction of the South. It appears to show the coast of Antarctica, without ice. How is that possible? In 1513, no one had ever been to Antarctica. No one even knew it existed. Mainstream historians say it's just a bad drawing of South America. But the theorists, they say something else. They say this map and others like it are copies of much older maps, sourced from an ancient, advanced maritime civilization that mapped the entire globe thousands of years ago. A civilization that saw Antarctica before the ice. A civilization that was wiped out by the last ice age, or maybe by that very pole shift, leaving only these mysterious maps behind. But let's take that theory one step further. What if it wasn't an ancient human civilization? This is where the ancient alien theorists jump in. They look at the Peary Race Map and ask, how could humans do this? What if the map was a gift? What if it was given to us by visitors from another world who used Antarctica as their home base? What if the lost city under the ice isn't human at all, but an ancient, abandoned alien outpost? It sounds crazy, but it connects to another wild idea, the Silurian hypothesis. This is a real scientific thought experiment. It asks, what if an industrial civilization existed on Earth millions of years ago, before humans? What if, say, the dinosaurs evolved intelligence or something else did? If they existed 65 million years ago, all traces of their cities and factories would be gone, ground to dust. Unless one of their structures was on a continent that got flash frozen and preserved perfectly. A continent just like Antarctica. This is what makes the cave on King George Island so fascinating. If anything unusual is buried inside, it may have been shielded from the elements for millennia, just waiting. The continent's extreme isolation is the key. Unlike other regions where wind, water, and human activity wear down structures over time, Antarctica's frozen surface acts as the perfect preservative. Fossils, geological formations, and potentially artificial structures can remain relatively untouched for thousands, even millions of years. While mainstream archaeology is busy digging in Egypt and Rome, a small but growing community of researchers and enthusiasts is turning its full attention to Antarctica. They point out that this continent isn't just ice and rock. It's a repository of ancient history. Some experts believe that features like the King George Island cave may contain clues about the planet's climatic past, or even about life forms that existed before humans ever began documenting history. Every single layer of ice and sediment offers a piece of the puzzle, and anomalies in those layers, anomalies like a perfectly carved 70-foot-tall doorway, are treated with particular interest. The history of modern exploration in Antarctica is itself a story of survival. Early expeditions in the early 1900s were perilous. Explorers faced blinding blizzards, treacherous terrain, and temperatures so low they could freeze a person solid in minutes. Over the past century, research stations have allowed scientists to study the continent year-round. They've uncovered amazing things: fossils, meteorites from Mars, and ancient ice cores that reveal climate patterns stretching back hundreds of thousands of years. Yet here's the crazy part. Despite all this study, vast portions of Antarctica remain completely unexplored. We have better maps of the surface of Mars than we do of the land under the Antarctic ice. This combination of extreme preservation, a complex hidden landscape, and a total lack of exploration makes it the #1 candidate on Earth for mysterious discoveries. And King George Island, where the cave was spotted, is a geological hotspot. It sits near the Antarctic Peninsula, an area with complex formations and frequent volcanic activity. This part of Antarctica was once subject to dramatic shifts, rock uplift, and glacial movement, all of which combined to produce a weird landscape of caves, ridges, and hidden valleys. While many formations are natural, the possibility of something unusual, perhaps even something altered by an intelligent hand buried beneath the ice, that possibility cannot be ignored. The cave is a doorway, and its very existence hints that the secrets of this lost green world are waiting to be found. But scientists aren't just guessing. They are now using incredible technology to see what's really there. Why is Antarctica on lockdown? So how do you explore a continent that's buried under 2 miles of ice? You can't just go for a walk. This is where modern technology comes in, and it's revealing a hidden world that is blowing scientists' minds. Antarctica is more than a frozen desert. Beneath that ice, scientists have discovered a landscape that is surprisingly complex. We're talking about massive mountain ranges, some as big as the Alps, and deep, winding valleys. And all of it is hidden, revealed only by tools like ice-penetrating radar, high-resolution satellite imagery, and aerial surveys. These hidden features are more than just geological curiosities. Sometimes they hint at something that challenges our entire understanding of the continent's history. Over the past few decades, this technology has uncovered anomalies that suggest, well, structures that don't look natural at all. Some of these hidden formations appear geometric. They have straight lines or rectangular patterns that are extremely unusual in purely natural ice and rock. Think about it. Nature loves curves, spirals, and jagged edges. It doesn't usually build in perfect 90-degree angles. Other anomalies look like tunnels or chambers carved in ways that hint at deliberate shaping. Now, most scientists are very cautious. They note that ice flow and the slow grinding movement of glaciers can produce some odd patterns, but the presence of shapes that look like walls or foundations or terraces. This has sparked a very serious debate. Could these formations be the evidence of ancient structures preserved by the ice for tens of thousands of years? And this brings us to one of the biggest wild theories of all, the Antarctic pyramids. Yeah, about that. If you search online, you will find satellite images of mountains in Antarctica, particularly in the Ellsworth mountain range, that are stunning. They aren't jagged peaks. They are perfect, four-sided pyramids with smooth-looking faces and a sharp point at the top, just like the pyramids at Giza. The logical explanation? Scientists say these are nunataks. They are just mountain peaks poking through the ice, and their pyramid-like shape is a coincidence, carved by natural wind and ice erosion from 4 different directions. But the theorists, they say that's impossible. The shapes are too perfect. The angles are too precise. They believe these are artificial structures, real pyramids built by an ancient civilization that were so massive not even 2 miles of ice could hide them completely. What if they were power plants? What if they were tombs? What if they are navigational beacons for visiting spacecraft? This theory ties directly into the other great Antarctic mystery, Lake Vostok. This is a wow factor that is 100% real. Scientists have identified more than 400 of these subglacial lakes. These aren't just puddles, they are massive bodies of liquid water trapped under miles of solid ice. Lake Vostok is the most famous. It's one of the largest lakes in the world, and it's been sealed off from the outside world for millions of years, buried under 2.5 miles of ice. For decades, Russian scientists at Vostok Station drilled down towards it, but the legends surrounding that lake are insane. First, there's the anomaly. At one end of the lake, scientists detected a massive magnetic anomaly. Something huge and metallic is down there. What is it? No one knows. Then the stories got darker. There were rumors that a research team that got too close vanished, that another team got sick with a mysterious illness after analyzing water samples. Then, in 2012, they finally breached the lake. The official report said they found microorganisms, a whole ecosystem thriving in total darkness. But the wild theory is that they found something else, something they were told to cover up. Some say they found an organism, a creature that was not of this world. Others say the magnetic anomaly is a massive metallic object, a crashed ship, or a part of a buried city. This is where the biggest wild theory of all comes in, the cover-up. Why is Antarctica so restricted? In 1959, the Antarctic Treaty was signed. It dedicates the entire continent to peace and science. No military activity is allowed. It sounds great, but conspiracists ask, why? Why is this the only continent on Earth with such a treaty? Why is it easier to get a visa for North Korea than it is to get permission to mount your own independent expedition to Antarctica? Theorists claim the treaty isn't about science. It's about control. It's to stop people from going to look for themselves, to stop them from finding the pyramids or the crashed ships or the entrance to the hollow Earth. They say the military presence there, from the US, Russia, and other powers, isn't just for logistical support for scientists. It's to guard the secrets, to make sure no one sees what they aren't supposed to see. Some researchers have even reported being buzzed by unmarked planes or helicopters when they've strayed too far from their designated zones. This is where the satellite enthusiasts and amateur explorers come back in. People spending hours scouring online maps have spotted all sorts of unusual shapes, shadows, and patterns in the ice. Now, to be fair, most of these sightings are quickly explained by natural things. Melting snow, cracks in the ice, or just the angle of the sunlight playing tricks. But a few remain unexplained, and they spark huge debates in forums and among researchers. The idea that there could be a hidden feature, a cave, or even a full-blown structure under Antarctica is no longer a fringe theory. It's supported by multiple independent observations from very real, very expensive technology. It is against this backdrop of high-tech discovery, bizarre anomalies, and rumors of a massive cover-up that the cave on King George Island becomes even more remarkable. Because here's the deal. Unlike the pyramids, which are mostly covered, and unlike Lake Vostok, which is miles down, this cave is visible. It's right there on satellite images, and it has those apparent steps leading right into it. The combination of a large, visible entrance, a relatively accessible location, and signs that look like man-made structures. This sets it apart from all the other anomalies. So, scientists and explorers are starting to pay closer attention. Drones have added another layer to the investigation. Preliminary drone footage has shown shadows deep within the entrance, hinting at a huge depth. An ice-penetrating radar deployed in the regions around the cave suggests that this entrance, it may lead to a space far larger than anyone ever estimated. It could extend hundreds, maybe thousands of feet back into the mountain. Scientists approaching this are, of course, cautious, but others are admitting that the combination of the size, the apparent steps, and the fluctuating visibility is unusual. It's more than unusual. It's enough to warrant a much closer look. Data from satellites, drones, and radar are all being compared. They're building a 3D model of this thing, and what they found inside is the part that has everyone truly stunned. This isn't just a cave, it's something else, and it seems to be connected to something even bigger. An ancient machine. After years of satellite observations, radar studies, and careful speculation, the mystery of the King George Island cave is finally starting to take shape. And what archaeologists and scientists have just discovered beneath the ice will leave you speechless. What was once just a shadowy opening on a computer screen has now revealed features that are nothing short of extraordinary. Preliminary drone surveys flown right up to the edge of the entrance have confirmed what the radar hinted at. The cave is far larger than anyone had estimated. But here's the crazy part. It's not just a single hollowed-out cavern. The drone footage and radar scans show that this is a series of chambers and passages. It's a complex, one that extends deep into the mountain. One researcher was quoted as saying, "This is unbelievable. This may not be natural at all. The sheer scale of the space is staggering. The first chamber alone could easily fit multiple large vehicles inside, but its true size may be far greater, hidden beyond areas that are inaccessible to drones for now. And the features inside are what have experts completely stunned." Let's go back to those steps. From satellite imagery, they looked carved and regular, dark against the white snow. On closer inspection, high-resolution drone footage confirms it. These are not random ice formations. They have defined, sharp edges and a regular, repeating pattern that strongly suggests intentional shaping. Some experts are still speculating that these steps could have been formed naturally by centuries of very specific, layered glacial erosion. But the human-like precision, the almost perfect right angles, it raises massive questions. This could be the first real evidence of a structure modified by ancient visitors. The truth is still uncertain, but the impression of deliberate construction is undeniable. And that's not all. This is where the story gets a wow factor that ties it all together. Adding to the intrigue, observers and researchers have now linked the cave to another mysterious feature spotted in Antarctica, this one miles away. It's a giant staircase-like formation, also spotted on satellite images buried under the frozen terrain. This other structure is enormous, stretching for hundreds of feet and partially obscured by ice. It also appears to have regular terrace levels. And here is the part that will give you chills. Some experts believe that this giant, distant staircase and the cave on King George Island are part of the same larger system. When they plotted the coordinates, they found a stunning alignment. It's as if the cave is an entrance, and the staircase is another part of a massive hidden complex, all connected by subterranean passages. The idea is tantalizing. A hidden system preserved under the ice, shaped by natural forces, human hands, or something else entirely. Inside the cave itself, the drone images show shadows and contours that hint at this unexpected complexity. The walls in some areas appear unnervingly smooth. There are areas that look like terraces and sections of the floor that appear unusually level, not like the jagged, uneven floor of a natural cave. While these observations are still preliminary, they suggest the interior is not a simple hollow, but a layered, complex space, possibly shaped over thousands of years. So what do you think is really buried under the ice? A lost city, an alien ship, or just a weird rock? Let us know your theory in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe.